What's up, YouTube? Today we got the winners of the Brawl Stars map design contest. We got the best community-made maps in Showdown, Brawl Ball, and Heist. So let's get into it. Alright, so really quick, I just want to go over a little bit how I chose the winners for the modes, but also, guys, thank you so much for participating. There were over 400 comments, as you can see, and also thank you to Supercell for providing little in-game gems as a bonus prize. And guys, I think there were over maybe 500 maps submitted. It was an insane amount of participation. It took me a long time to go through all the maps. That's why this video is a little bit late today compared to my normal time. Some people submitted over 5 maps. There were probably people submitted about 10. A lot of people submitted just 1 or 2, but they were a lot of great maps. It was really hard to choose. I ended up going with 5 honorable mentions for each game mode, and of course 1 winner for all of the 3. And we'll go over each one pretty quickly. But also there were a couple things that I judged on. One, I looked at how unique the map was. If there's a map already in the game that was pretty similar to the map submitted, I probably nixed it. Another thing, if there was a ton of water, like a lot of water, it probably got nixed. I like having some water, and you will see some maps with water, but a lot of it can cause problems. Another big thing is just any sort of map flaws. Like a big key one that can cause a lot of problems in maps in Brawl Stars is if there's one tile gaps. If there's gaps, walkways you have to walk through that are only a tile wide, they can be really difficult to walk through. So if there were a lot of those, that probably made the map get nixed too. But honestly as well, a lot of it came down to personal opinion. This may not have been the best way to judge maps, but someone had to do it right, I guess. There were about 500 maps, so it was definitely not an easy process. Also, honestly, a lot of the maps were kind of similar too. Not a lot of them, I should say, but some of the maps were pretty similar, so that also made it difficult. There may be some honorable mentions where there were other maps that were also pretty similar that probably deserve to be honorable mentions too, but wouldn't make sense to have a lot of honorable mentions that were almost the same map. All right, with all that, let's start out with the Heist maps, and let's start out with the honorable mentions. This map is Cactus Coral, made by Smedrix27. Calls it an anti-Daryl Heist map. I really like this map, actually, and this is probably the most amount of lake of the ones that I chose in Heist. I do like seeing a little bit of lake. I definitely think it makes it a lot more unique. There's definitely no maps anything close to like this, and this is an honorable mention. And I just like that there's 2 different pathways, but there's a big divider. But at the same time, even though there is that huge divider in the center of the map, you can still shoot over it. So whether you're defending, it's not going to stop you from stopping people from pushing forward. And I also like that there's different areas, distinct areas of the map. Next up is Bouncy Highway by Kang Eric. And I also like this one a lot. It almost reminds me a little bit of Safe Zone with the 2 distinct lanes running down the middle, or multiple distinct lanes running down the middle. But the one big difference to me is that walls in the middle, it really allows you to push forward to the middle, and I think it's going to be a little bit more free-flowing. It would be a little bit easier to push up the map, and you can peek out behind those walls, use that grass in the middle. On top of that, there's those side passageways, maybe not easy to get into because there are those lakes, but you can get into them and push through them. And also, if you go a little bit too hard there, you might get trapped. I definitely think it adds a lot of intrigue and strategy as far as which way you want to go on this map. What about this map called Humid Sauna by Putlin? Had to add a map with TNT in it, right? I don't know personally how well a map with TNT really would work in game. It's sort of like a thing where you have to decide when you want to blow it up. You're going to blow it up pretty fast, but maybe not right away. You got to decide whether to shoot enemies or the TNT first, but I do like it. There's a distinct lane down the middle which you can push towards, but you can't super right away to the safe. At the same time, once you blow up those TNT, you can push down that lane, but at the same time, you can only blow up the TNT on your side. So you have to decide, do you want to blow up that TNT on your side so you can push through it? But at the same time, once you blow it up, the enemy can as well. So you're going to do it after you get some kills first. Definitely adds a lot of intrigue, and I would like to see it in the game. This map is just called Map, actually, and it's by Billy. And this one, it's honestly reminds me a little bit of a Brawl Ball map, but in Heist form. You got those walls in the middle, which is really going to change up what brawlers might be used. Well, probably. At the least, it's going to be maybe not as much long-range brawlers. You're still going to probably see those tanks and those throwers, but I think it adds a little bit of intrigue, and it's not so much an easy super right away to the safe. It's hard probably to go around the sides, but it's definitely possible. You can go down the middle, but there's also a lot of grass there for defenders to take action against you if you choose to do so, so beware. Now, this is the last honorable mention for a heist. It is Builder's Workshop by Crassium Alex. I really like the idea with this one, that big area in the center where you can either have throwers behind it or you can hide in the grass. I think would add a lot of depth to it. Honestly, reminds me a little bit of GG Coral with the, or old GG Coral with the amount of grass. You could either hide, you could try and spawn trap, but the spawn trap wouldn't be too hard, as in the middle of the map, there's not a lot of area to hide if you're trying to spawn trap, but there's a lot of area to just start the game going. And here is my winner for the Heist map design contest. This is Fencing Fort by Rush Alisk. I really like this map. I think there's a lot of different depth to this map. It definitely is pretty unique. It wouldn't be super easy to be a Daryl super across the map. You could, to some degree, go a far distance, but you wouldn't be able to get right next to the Heist. At the Leaf, you'd have to destroy a decent amount of walls. There's a lot of grass to hide behind. I think you would see a definitely different brawler team comps on this map. And it's also not too spawn trappy. I like that there's distinct lanes you have to go down if you want to push up the map, but it's not just one lane. There's at least two for you to go through, and there's also a lot of grass for you to heal up, hide behind. I think this will be a really good map to add to the game. Moving on into the honorable mentions for Showdown maps. This one is called Farmlands by Nicholas Lundberg. And you're going to see in all of these Showdown maps actually have at least a little bit of water. But I really do like this map. I think it has distinct areas of it, and each one is a little bit different, but it's not uneven. I like the amount of grass. I like the amount of walls. I don't think there would be a specific brawler that would be favored on this map. It looks pretty balanced to me, and I do like it. Next up, we have Swamp by Tony. This map, as you can see, has a lot of water, and by the name, and I think this would be a fun map where a lot of water, which is really going to restrict movement. It's going to create key interactions, but you can shoot over the water, so even if you are restricted to go to certain areas to retreat, you can still shoot over the water and attack your enemies who are pushing you away. I think this will be a really interesting dynamic to teaming as well. If you're teaming on this map, you're going to be forced into areas that might cause easy betrayals. I think this would be a fun one to try out. Next up is Dead G Maze by Dadden Reagan. I think I said that right. But look at this map. It definitely is maze-esque. I actually really like it. The only caveat I have with it is it's maybe a little bit too friendly for throwers. I think in some of the maps some of the walls in the middle, I would open up. That way it's not going to be totally dominated by throwers. You can just, come in and avoid them, and you're not just running along a straight path, easy for throwers to kill you without getting attacked. But I do think this would be really fun, having that maze-esque style, be a interesting battle dynamic, fighting someone. You'd have to fight someone across from you for that box every single time almost, and I think it would be really fun. Next up is Dune Drift by Ian Binstock. I think this would be a really unique Showdown map to see. It is a little bit open, but at the same time, there's a lot of walls. It's very much area oriented. It's open areas, but closed off in their own space. You have to go through openings to escape, but there's definitely different interactions on each part of the map. This would also be a really good one. Next up is The Lonely Maze 2.0, again by Tony. Tony really likes those mazes, but I really like this map as well. This one is even more maze-oriented than the last one we saw. And look at this. Once you get in there, man, good luck. And look at all the different areas you can go in. There's a lot of places to hide, a lot of places to escape. You can avoid people running around those walls in circles, but you might end up getting caught if you're not too careful. One change I might add to this map is in the four corners. In a different version, he actually had skeletons in those corners. I think that would be a great addition to this map, just adding a little bit more places to either exit or enter the maze. Obviously, once the poison comes in, though, you're stuck in the maze. I think it would be great to have this map in the game as well. And here we go. The winner for the Showdown map portion is Scorched Oasis by Owen reds. I really like this map. To me, it feels really polished. Every single area of the map has a distinct interaction that could happen. Maybe there's a little bit too many boxes, but other than that, I mean, that's an easy fix. I think there's a really good potential in this map. Each area of the map is really good. And also, I like the center of the map, unlike maybe Feast or Famine or Thousand Lakes, where all the boxes are just straight up piled on top of each other in the center. There's a lot of boxes in the center, but you could easily have someone on the other side of you in the center getting boxes, and you can't shoot each other. So you can still have that mad rush for the center, but there's a different interaction feel than the other rushes to the center of this map. And I do really like this overall, especially with the water, the cactuses. I think there's a lot of good potential on this map. Last but not least, we have the Brawl Ball portion. And starting off with the honorable mentions, we have Kicking Crates by Jesse Dirks. And to me, this map is pretty unique. You can look at the bottom half as being a little bit similar to Triple Dribble, but then the middle is totally different. You got a decent amount of grass, and then I like the side things as well to force those interactions in the middle where you have to go through those specific areas, either in the direct middle and that small passageway on the side. And if you do take a good amount of damage, you can go sneak off into the grass over there in the middle, but then you might be stuck there as well. I think this is a really fun potential on this map. I do like it. Next up, we have Crazy Crates by Arthur Alman. This one reminds me a little bit of Backyard Bowl as far as the back end, but the middle is totally different. I think this would cause some really interesting interactions. You could have people hiding behind those walls, but if you do, you're not going to be able to be too offensive. You're stuck there hiding. You got to go away from them as well if you want to make that push. But at the same time, if you are going forward, you might end up taking easy damage as well. I think this would add a lot of fun interactions to the game. And even once those walls are down, it would still be a pretty crazy map. Next, we have Shelley Stadium by Nicholas Lundberg. And I would actually really like to see a map like this. A couple people had a similar idea. And I don't know if you noticed it, but look at those goals. It's totally different than the normal Brawl Ball maps. I would really like to see a Brawl Ball map where the starting goal is like that, where the boxes are in the middle of the goal and open on the sides. Totally different from your traditional soccer-esque style you're used to seeing in what would be, Brawl Ball. It's like soccer. But I think this would be a really cool and unique approach to the goal, and why not adding two different sides where you can score? I don't see a problem with that, and I think in general it's a pretty unique map as well. Decent amount of grass. It would be definitely a different feel to it. Okay, what about this map, Barrel Fields by Rashad? There's a good amount of boxes, and I like the sort of bone box-esque feel to this, but it's not the same Triple Dribble style feel where throwers would potentially dominate. You would still see a good amount of hiding in boxes where tanks might be able to do work, but not the same feel as Triple Dribble. I think this would be a more unique style, and I would like to see this one added as well. Last of the honorable mentions for Brawl Ball, we have Sneaky Fields by none other than Lex YouTube. Nice job, Lex. Look at this map. I actually really like it. There's a decent amount of grass, and it sort of forces people to the middle. There's some boxes you can hide behind for those interactions, but not too many. At the same time, I think the back end is what separates it as well. You got a different interaction, and the goal is more of a U-shaped style defense, a little bit different than you might be used to seeing. Maybe a little bit easier to break down those boxes, but a little bit different interactions as well. All right, and the winner of the Brawl Ball map design contest is going to be Koi Fields by Arthur Kim. Look at all the water on this map. I've wanted to see a Brawl Ball map with water. I think it's a really hard one to design though as well. Having a lot of water in Brawl Ball as far as a large body of water can be tricky because shooting the ball over water, it's a little iffy. If you end up in the middle, well, obviously that's a problem. So it has to just keep going. So you have weird shots sometimes with water, but I really like this one. None of the water feels like too big to me. And at the same time, there's also sort of obstacles in the way. So you can't even shoot over them sometimes. Now, once you break those down, you can, but at the same time, I think it creates interesting pathing on this map. There are some grass. I think you would see a lot of different brawler team comps on this map, and I would really like to see this one in the game. Try it out and test it out. Now, obviously, I would really like to see all these maps in the game. And guys, if your map was not mentioned, there was a lot of great maps that were not mentioned in this video, but thank you everyone who participated. I've already PM'd the winners on Reddit and reply, and I will give you your gift cards. Guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you later. Last but not least, we have Brawl Ball. Brawl Ball. Brawl